welcome back to my channel. My name is David. This is going to be a story time video explaining to you guys a little more about me. I figure at 43 years old in about 3 months, I have learned a lot of things. So this video, as you can tell by the topic, is going to be mostly 10 habits that have changed my life. This video will probably be about 10 to 12 minutes long, a little longer than my usual videos. So I have here on my phone my number one thing, which I think is the most important part of who I really am now at 43 years old, is learning to be faithful. Being a guy, it should come as no surprise that we are not exactly bred to be the most intelligent and make the best decisions. So I haven't always been a faithful guy. I have never cheated on somebody by sleeping with somebody else. That I have never done. So, and I don't plan on that, especially now in my life at the point. So learning to be faithful, how is that compiled down to a sentence or paragraph? Well, learning to be faithful meaning try to keep yourself away from temptation. Basically, I don't put myself in situations where I can compromise my faithfulness to my wife and to my daughters, because it's not just my wife, but it's also my daughter. Because it's like I tell people all the time, you got to think before you unzip, and at the same time understand that there's no vagina in this world that is going to make it worth me seeing my daughter only on the weekends, and that's if I'm lucky. When I was younger, it was more like child support. Nobody wanted to pay child support. But now that you're older, you understand, you know what I mean? And it's like, I don't want to see my daughter on the weekends. That is the last thing I want to do. And honestly, to me, it's just not worth it. Learning to be faithful was simple for me. Basically, I had to go back and I had to realize the mistakes I made and why I made them and what put me in that situation. And basically, I came down to understand I kept wedging myself in between certain situations where it just compromised everything. So I did not want to continue doing those mistakes, especially in an older age, and where I actually found myself a woman that is basically perfect to me. Everybody's got a fault, everybody's got habits, and there's always something that somebody doesn't like. If you look for perfection, you might find yourself at an older age and undesirable and alone, accepting my faults and loving myself. Back in the days when I was in school, when you were loving yourself, you would be considered conceited, okay? Even girls, believe it or not, could not love themselves, because if you loved yourself, man, they would shit all over you. But nowadays, it's all about loving yourself. I'm attracted to women that think they're hot, and I'm attracted to women that are high maintenance. That's just, I love it. I think it's so sexy. I think nowadays is probably the best time, now that I'm older and I accept my faults, all my downsides of who I am and all the mistakes that I've made and what I can't do and what other people can do, and all the stuff that I've tried and failed 3 or 4 times until I finally got it right. I make mistakes all the time, and honestly, it doesn't bother me. Maybe 20 years ago it would affect me a little differently. I wasn't always sensitive. I'm not sensitive about it. I just wouldn't accept it as much as I do now that I'm older, and I've just grown and come to understand everybody makes mistakes, and it's basically how you get up and how you proceed is how you can continue to change that and try to make it better. You know what I mean? You're not always going to be perfect at everything. I always tell people not every job is for everyone. I learned to love myself. Loving myself is important because I always put myself down all the time. I always try to find a way to kind of put myself in somebody else's shoes to see why I am the way I am and why that person sees me in that specific way. So I had to learn to love who I am, and just because I'm not perfect and I may have some mental issues, I can't keep always blaming that on my mom and my dad. Loving myself is basically just saying, you're an idiot, so you're gonna have to live with it, and even though I can't be good at everything, I've learned to just live with who I am. The next thing I have here is not lying. I'm not the kind of person that when I say something, it's because it really happened. And I don't care if nobody's paying attention to me. I don't care if anybody likes me. I just care about being honest. I'm not gonna twist the story around to make myself look like a hero. And if I make a mistake, I'm gonna tell you. If you ask me if I made a mistake, I'm gonna tell you. Because I'm not gonna lie to you and tell you, no, that wasn't me that broke that. And basically all that's trying to say, when you do something like that, you're just telling them you're ashamed of yourself. So basically, by you lying and saying,
no, I didn't do that.
You're just pretty much saying you're embarrassed of yourself. You know what I mean? Like literally, oh, I didn't break that. Your dumb ass broke it, and you can't accept the fact that your dumb ass broke it. So people lie, and basically you're lying to yourself. You're not just lying to some stranger, you're lying to yourself, because now you're trying to say you can't deal with the fact that you did something that wasn't right, and you did something that wasn't perfect, and you did something that was stupid even though it was a mistake. Once you start telling the truth and living with the fact of your imperfections, you're gonna see that you're gonna start learning to live with the way you were. So stop lying about your mistakes, tell the truth, and if it causes a ripple effect, well, maybe it was just not meant to be. You know what I mean? So I'm a huge person in believing in not lying. You ask me a question, I'm not going to be held responsible. You ask me, I will tell you the truth. The next thing I have here is learning from other people's mistakes. Okay, the number one reason that I learned from other people's mistakes is I've seen a lot of stuff throughout the years. Not just learning from my parents, which are a huge part of who I am today. Not just in the faults, but also how I've grown. You know, my dad is a massive alcoholic. If he doesn't have to work that day, he starts drinking the second he wakes up. Like if I don't like to call my dad past 10 o'clock because I already know he's buzzed. I learned from my dad's mistakes and not drinking, keeping that out of my system because I know I have a downfall in my gene pool that will probably attract me to alcoholism. It's one of those things, you know, like in my mom cheated on my father. My mom had an affair and it ruined the marriage. Because of my mom's decision of being unfaithful in the marriage, I learned that seeing what happened when my mom was unfaithful created this ripple effect throughout the family. It wasn't just my brothers and my dad and my mom, it was throughout the whole family. It just created so much chaos. It just started there and it just went tumbled down like dominoes. Once I saw how much hurt that my mom's decision made into the family between me, my brothers and I learned from that, and I said I don't want that to happen in my family. My parents were huge in my parenting to my daughter, and how I am a husband to my wife. Being frugal and cheap as hell. Cheapo. I am one cheap ass mother fly, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm super cheap, and I'm not cheap to the point where I don't spend or I don't buy good stuff. If I can find a knockoff that works exactly the same, you bet your ass I'm gonna get that, man. The ever drives, I buy generic ones. If they're good, I keep them. If they're bad, they go back. I buy name brand stuff if I expect to keep something forever. If I basically when it came down to my retro console adapters, I saw a bunch of knockoffs, I gave them all a try, then I went out and I bought the name brands, and then I realized the name brands worked the same on some of them, and also some of them worked better. So I'm very frugal, which I'm happy. My wife and I waited a long time to buy a house, and then one day we just decided to buy a house, and we picked the perfect time when the economy collapsed in 2008, buy a house when everything was as low as possible. Sometimes I do wish I wasn't as cheap as I am, but so I'm the kind of person that if I get a raise, I don't go out and make a bill for myself and buy myself a new car so then I'm back to where I was before. This way you never get ahead. You're always going to be living paycheck to paycheck. If you can't put $100 a week in the bank, then there might be something wrong with the way you're doing stuff in your life financially. Okay, the other thing is driving safely. Okay, if you guys remember one of my story times back, a few months back, probably a long time, maybe 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, I don't remember. But there was a story time I did about my car accident that I had, and literally that car accident changed my life. And when I say it changed my life, I don't mean it changed my life as just being dramatic. No, I mean it literally changed my life. It made me view friendships differently. It made me drive safely, which is why we're at this topic right now. Driving safely is a huge thing for me because I saw the implications of what happens when you don't pay attention. I saw the big mess I made. I remember all the nights crying and all the nights staying up late because I was worried because I had to go to court from that mistake that I made. I know what it did. I know the ripple effects. I know all the people that I hurt, and I paid that price for a long time. My insurance went up. I paid huge insurance fees for 7 to 10 years. So it really impacted me, not just mentally, because now I still have remnants of that accident that still define who I am today. Like now, because of that, it's changed how I get close to people, because these are people that I thought were my friends, and turned out they didn't understand I made a mistake. They just cared about the money, suing the insurance companies and stuff like that. They didn't care about my feelings, you know, they didn't care about me making a bad decision. So basically what I want to say is driving safely has become basically a hobby for me, a habit. It's not an option. I drive cruise control all the time. I don't like to go over the speed limit. The most I go is 70. The most. So let's move on. Alright, the next one is not eating meat. Alright, this is just my view, my perspective, the way I see it. I'm happy that I don't eat meat, because when I see a dead animal on the side of the road, it kind of hurts my heart, because I feel so bad for that animal, because they don't understand what's going on with all these cars driving by. They don't understand what just happened to them, you know? I don't like eating meat because it grosses me out that something bleeds and has a heart and has thoughts, has babies of their own, and then now you're eating them. Okay, everybody has their own opinion. You guys do whatever you want. My opinion will never change on this. This is just something I've been doing for over 20 years. I haven't eaten meat, and I don't plan on ever doing it again. I don't believe we should be eating animals, because they have feelings too. You know what I mean? That's just the way I feel. The next one is no drugs and alcohol, and no smoking. I don't do any type of drugs. I don't, you know, so now some people don't consider smoking pot drugs, but it still falls in that category in my mind. So I don't do any kind of drugs, I don't smoke cigarettes, and I don't drink alcohol. I have never done any types of drugs. I haven't smoked anything. I'm not saying I never drank. Obviously, I told you guys in this video already that I drank champagne at my dad's wedding when I was 16 and I got destroyed. Also, there was one time that when I lived with my dad, we lived in an apartment, and there was a friend of mine that I went to school with. He lived upstairs on the 3rd floor. He was a nice kid. He made some bad decisions too. Yeah, he used to live upstairs on the 3rd floor. He had some Portuguese wine, so I didn't realize that Portuguese grape wine can get you drunk. So my dumb ass goes and he drinks like half a glass like this, like a normal glass. I drank half a glass and I got destroyed. I was so sick that he had to bring me downstairs. Dude, I was throwing up everywhere. It was terrible. Terrible.
I never want to feel like that again.
It was terrible. Everything was spinning. And back in the day, we had beepers. So you can imagine looking at a beeper and trying to see the number. I had to close one eye to look at it. So yeah, I'm not a fan of any of that. I don't understand what the purpose of seeing double and the world spinning. So I don't do that. I don't smoke cigarettes. My dad smokes. I think my middle brother stopped smoking, but I think my little brother still smokes cigarettes. I'm not 100% sure. I'm big on my health. I'm kind of fat, so I don't really look like I'm big on my health. But believe it or not, I hold back eating a lot of stuff. I've had, you know, girls I've dated in the past that literally, because I didn't go clubbing, or because I didn't go to the bars, or because I wasn't a social drinker, the drugs part didn't really bother anybody. It was the drinking part, because I couldn't drink with somebody, I couldn't go out with somebody. It's almost like they were embarrassed of me because I didn't drink. And at first it's all, you know, hunky-dory. Everybody's like,
oh my god, that's so amazing, you're so different.
Yeah, 3 months go by, 90-day warranty expires, and all it does is just irritate them. It embarrasses them and irritates them that you don't do that like everybody else. So these are all the things that's happened to me because of my not drinking. I've seen so much alcoholism in my family. Alcoholism is a big thing in my family. You know, my dad was drunk when I was younger. I know my other uncle, when he was drunk, he was mean. Like, he just says things and hurt people's feelings, and you know, he used to call me names all the time. And alcoholism has just been a really, really bad experience in my life. And my dad, when he was drunk, he wasn't the kind of person that would, you know, throw stuff, get mad, put you down, nothing. My dad was just stupid when he was drunk. I mean, he literally used to piss himself all the time. Here's the other thing right here. Not swearing. I'm not the kind of person to be dropping F-bombs all the time. I don't like that. I think it's dirty. I think it shows, I wasn't brought up like that, all right? My mom used to throw F-bombs all the time when she was mad. I didn't hear my dad swear unless he was mad at me for not going going to school. When I'd be skipping school home playing Super Nintendo or something, I try not to bring my daughter up like that. I know that the school system is, the kids nowadays, they all just throw the F-bombs around like it's nothing. So I don't see that as the proper respectful manner to be constantly throwing F-bombs. I mean, nobody nowadays, I can't talk to anybody without somebody throwing the F word around. I mean, like literally, you would think they were getting paid a dime for every time they said that word. It's terrible. I was brought up on my grandmother not to swear. My grandmother, my family was Catholic. Obviously, as you can tell, the religious stuff on my family didn't really seem to do much of a difference, because they all freaking, you know, they all cheated and they all did their own thing. And my grandmother was very religious and my grandfather was very religious. My grandmother always told me, don't swear, don't say bad words because it makes Jesus cry. That's how I was brought up. Now, my brothers, when my grandmother moved out, they were much younger, so they didn't really get that. They didn't really get to absorb that knowledge from my grandmother. So that's one of the reasons why. When I get pissed off though, when I get mad, oh dude, I throw the F-bomb around like it's freaking on clearance, man. I hate the fact that I do that, but I just can't help it, man. It just, when I'm mad, it takes a little bit of things, and you gotta pile a few slices on before I really let go. I hope you guys love life like me, because I love my life. You know, if I were to die tomorrow, I would probably not be able to rest my soul, because I love my life so much. Everything, all my aspect of life, I just love it. And I want to say that I hope you guys love your life too, and if you guys feel down or you guys don't feel, you know, happy all the time, I think that's normal. I feel like that sometimes too. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys got more of an insight on who I am. Don't forget to love life and be kind, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
I am a prodigy, I am a leader, they follow me.